So welcome, guys. This is Glasgow Rangers Nation. I am Owen James, and this is all your latest Rangers news, guys. We are bringing you all the latest news, views, and updates from the club. So, look, we've got a bit more news about the James Tavernier to Turkey story, which is ongoing. We've got a little bit of news, obviously, about the CEO search as well, which appears to have come to a juddering halt after 9 weeks ago being told by John the Caveat Bennett that her appointment was close. Seems that John Bennett buggered that one up as well. Well done, Mr. Bennett. Well done. Right, let's start off with the latest on James Tavernier, whatever you want to call him. Tav, let's just call him that. So there was lots of obviously reports that following fan abuse, after the awful defeat to Celtic in the Old Firm game, which included a pathetic performance by Tav. James Tavernier's form has not been anywhere near good enough since March of last year. He really has dropped off, and I think his performance levels have dropped off. And I think, personally speaking, that his time at the club is coming to an end, and it needs to come to an end for his sake as well as the club's. I think the manager is partly culpable for this. He's continuing to play James to keep giving him the captain's armband and to keep starting him over the likes, obviously, of Dujon Sterling. I think it's just a ridiculous decision, to see a player struggling and going back to the Celtic game, to see him getting ripped apart time and time again by Dyson Maida and nothing can be done to protect him is just awful. But there were stories, obviously, in the media that there were clubs in Turkey and there was clubs in Qatar interested in. Now, the Qatari window has been and gone and no bids came in. The Turkish window closes on the 13th, which is Friday. The strongest rumour coming out of Turkey was that Giovanni van Bronckhorst Besiktas were seeking to bring James Tavernier to Turkey, that Gio was seeking a reunion with his former Rangers captain. Right, so look, what's the latest on this? There's an awful lot swishing around. There's people here suggesting that the bid is still ongoing, that there's still discussions, that there's a chance that it could all happen before Friday. There was even reports in some sources saying that Tav's been, onto his agent, trying to get his agent to push through this move, that there is, a desire from James to leave the club. And if he can get a reunion with his former manager, Gio, then all the better. However, a publication in Turkey, Haberturk, I think it is called, which is a Turkish sports publication, are now saying that although Besiktas are monitoring James Tavernier and that Giovanni van Bronckhorst has given a glowing reference on Tav to the sporting director and to the club's board, that a move for Tav will not come until January at the earliest. That is one of the reports that is emanating from Turkey today. Now, there is also reports as well that Rangers are unwilling to allow him to leave at this stage of the season, given that our transfer window is now closed. And obviously, there'll be no chance of getting a purchased replacement for him. There was talk of, obviously, Cyrus Christie. That seems to have kind of gone a bit quieter now. But, this seems to be... There's an awful lot still going on with this story, but it does appear from a number of sources that this move will not go ahead before Friday. That there's too many things that need to fall into place. There's too many issues with the move. Money being one of them. The other one, obviously, been Rangers having a replacement in place, which I'll talk about in a moment. The other one, obviously, been that Besiktas do need to move some players around before they can make a bid. Meaning, I think, basically, they're going to run out of time before Friday to get this deal done and over the line, despite the fact there may be a desire on Gio's part and on James Tavernier's part to seek a reunion between the two. So, look, I think one of the things that is difficult for me to kind of understand from Rangers is this unwillingness to sell him at this stage. I don't understand that. I mean, I know perhaps that is down to the manager. The manager doesn't want to lose the player. The manager rates the player. If he does, that's worrying that Clement rates Tav so highly, given, the awful standard of his performances so far this season. He's been pretty much 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10 in most of the games he's played this season. As well, the fact that I don't think he's capable of getting any better. I don't think he's capable of improving any this season. And he is certainly the weak link at the back, and you see that game in, game out. You see him, being attacked by opposition teams. They see the right side of our defense as been the weak side. And in all the old firm games of recent eras, in times, Dyson Maida, who is an average player at best, being made to look like prime CR7. The other rumor is that Rangers, the price. I don't honestly believe this one for a minute, and I think if there's any truth in it, it's absolutely disgusting. He's stupid. But there is a rumor circulating that Rangers value James Tavernier at £5.5 million, which I just find utterly ludicrous for a 32-year-old, 33-year-old right back whose best days are behind him, who has been since March very, very average indeed. I think £5.5 million is an absolutely ludicrous amount of money to ask for him. I think £1.5 million is far more realistic for a player of Tav's abilities at this stage in his career. So, if that's the reason why this transfer has been put off, I think the club have been very short-sighted. I think that's a kind of he's not for sale kind of tag, which goes against, again, what the manager said. The manager said at the start of the season, there was only, as far as he's concerned, one player who is not for sale, one player who is priceless, and that was Jack Butland at that stage. He never said anyone else. He never came out and said that Tavernier was not for sale. Again, whatever's happening is, I know this could all be a load of rubbish that they're asking for that amount of money. I do understand that. As could the story about him leaving, be a load of rubbish, but I just think if there's any semblance of any truth in this story of Besiktas, it's been interesting that the two clubs, and in particular Rangers, should be doing all they can to get Tav out the door before Friday. I think it'd be better for Tav, it'd be better for the club, it'd be better for everyone in the long run. I just think that he's going to further tarnish what he has done in the past. Look, I'm be honestly open with you now and say this lad has played well for us in the past. He has given us some great memories. He has been a good servant in the past for the club, but for the last sort of season or so, he has been absolutely poor. He's been one of the worst players on the park. Defensively, he's weak. Defensively, he's very poor. And I think that is one of the big issues for me. And I just despair that we're going to be stuck with him after Friday, and we're going to be stuck with him up until January, and then these rumours and reports will all start all over again, which again has an unsettling effect on the club, an unsettling effect on the squad, an unsettling effect on the manager, an unsettling effect on the player. And again, we've got to go through that for at least another month before either he leaves or the transfer window closes. And then we've got to wait till the end of the season. And again, the speculation begins again. And again, it's unsettling. I think anything that unsettles this squad, unsettles the club, is not good. So there's a lot of sides to this story. There's a lot of things to be taken into account and considered, before actually passing judgment on this story. There really genuinely is. I think, it's disappointing if it doesn't go through. It really is. As a club, we've got to be looking at selling players that are A, coming towards the end of their contract, B, are past their best, C, are at the height of their powers that we can get a big amount of money for. I think this club has been particularly poor for that has held on to players for far too long, has had a sentimentality, towards some players, and that's led to us not getting the true value of certain players, or getting players out at the right time and seeing them go past their sell-by dates. The Borna, John Lundstrom, for example, spring to mind on that with that example. So, I do think that the whole transfer policy that the club is currently displaying is still a very poor one, and is still in infancy in terms of developing a trading model and developing an effective buying and selling model for the club to really, thrive and be successful in the future. I'll be honest with you, I think the club needs a massive overhaul in terms of everything. And I'm going to talk about that on the podcast this morning. But I just genuinely despair. I do. I think, it's bad news if he stays. It really genuinely is bad news if he remains at the club. Right, so CEO search. James Bisgrove leaves the club. And we haven't got a chief executive officer, which, going into a transfer window is just ridiculous. You need someone to run the club. You need someone at the head of the club. You need someone who, can be really making those difficult decisions, someone to oversee everything. And John Bennett, I think, has proved, massively that he's not fit for purpose when it comes to that. And trying to do the chairman's role and the CEO role, he has not succeeded in the slightest. the CEO is the public face of the club. He is the voice of the club. He is, the person who takes the business and the football decisions. He kind of links together the business department and the football department. He has, a vital job. Now, it was rumored a couple of weeks ago that Jim Gillespie, who is the vice chairman of St Mirren and a chairman of some children's charity, was destined to take the CEO role. Apparently, according to those reports back then, it was the dotting of the I's and the crossing of the T's that remained to be done for Gillespie to come over from St Mirren to take the new CEO's job. Now, when this story was revealed to the media and to the fans, there was some concerns over it, given Gillespie's so perceived friendliness and cronyism with the board. I think there was a strong intention, from a lot of people that people wanted, I think there was a worry that he was too close to the board, that he was too close to to the board to be independent and to take those independent decisions. I think that was some of the criticism that he did get. Obviously as well, the fact that he was with this perceived smaller team, the fact that there was the mental scarring from the Stuart Robertson appointment as well, kind of made Gillespie not the most popular appointment amongst the fans. Obviously, we don't know. He could have come in and been a fantastic roaring success as Rangers chief executive officer. But however it appears now that he will not be the man for the CEO role. So who is it going to be? It appears that John Bennett has had to go back to the drawing board, go back to the search. And, we're now on the 11th of September. We're now in a situation where we are still looking for a CEO. We were told 9-10 weeks ago that we were close to making an appointment, and still no appointment has been made. Is it that there genuinely is no candidates out there? Is that there genuinely is nobody interested? Is it that candidates that we are interested in would cost money and we don't have the money to get them out of their contract? Is the a real drive from the board to actually replace this CEO and to get a new CEO into the building? For me, Gillespie wasn't the answer. I don't think he was. I think there are a lot more better candidates out there. Like I say, Adrian Bevington was one that sprung to mind. Andrew McKinley, who is the Hearts chief executive, I think he is another outstanding candidate. Yes, these people are in jobs, but we know that, with more attractive offers, with more lucrative offers, with more, attractive job descriptions, you can attract people. We all change jobs, when we want to, for better wages, for better positions, for better quality of company. We all change for different reasons. And I think, there is a possibility that, with the likes of McKinley, with the likes of Bevington, you can attract them to the club with the right offer. Rangers are a massive, massive club. They're a huge club. They're a club that's getting to Europe. They're a club that potentially, with the right marketing, with the right leadership at the top, we can become a massive brand, an even bigger brand than they currently are. So we can develop income streams through that branding of the club and the developing of the Rangers brand. I know people don't like talking about us as a brand, but all football clubs are effectively a brand these days. They are a company that is to be bought, to be traded, to be developed, to become a money-making operation. Especially if you want to be successful, you've got to develop as many income revenue streams as possible, not just buying and selling of players, but advertising, sponsorship, shirt merchandise sales, TV deals, radio deals, internet deals, sponsorship deals. And these are all things that the CEO can get involved with and can lead the club in and be successful in. So, the delay in appointing someone, the delay in someone actually taking on the role is a fundamental weakness at this moment in time in the club. And I think it's something that does desperately need to be addressed sooner rather than later. Guys, let me know what your opinions are on that. Right, we are now on Wednesday. We are fast approaching the weekend when we get some proper football back. It'd be good to actually get back into league action, to hopefully get back to winning ways at a very tough place to go in Tannadice. We'll obviously continue to build up to that over the next couple of days. Try and find the positives, try and find the players who can make the real difference on Sunday. Just a reminder as well, we will have a podcast coming up this morning at 10:20. Rangers FC need a modernisation. We're going to talk about how we can improve the club, how we can move this club forward as a concern, and what we need to do that. So we are going to look at that this morning. So come and join us for that. If you've missed that, please go back and give it a watch. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, on the way out, if you can drop me a comment, smash the sub, smash the like, and remember always, we are the people.